train heist. Again, I'm here for it. Arriving, yeah, in Albuquerque. And let's not forget the end of last episode. So yeah, the implications, or at least, you know, my guesswork, is that maybe they were looking for him. Maybe he did something. Yeah, interesting. I genuinely thought he was just, you know, he was out of that and he had his job in the booth and like, boom. But no. So we'll see.
Thanks for coming.
This was the girl in the present, right?
I'm just parked across the street, so.
Yeah, called him Mike, not Dad. So,
Janitor.
what sneaky sneakies are you up to, buddy? Right. Maybe a not so peaceful parting of the ways. Nice little touch, actually, that he waited until the last moment possible to go and do this, right? Which gives him the maximum amount of time between the blood showing through his shirt and keeping it a secret from this lady, because I guess that is the point. Yeah, waited till the last second to apply this. Yeah, what scrapes have you been getting into, man? Hello, and welcome to another Better Call Saul Sunday. This is episode 650. Welcome, thank you for joining me, and let's see what this episode holds. Kind of works. Here we go. The granddaughter is in the picture. Okay, so it's not his daughter that is the guardian of his granddaughter, perhaps. Unless they're so estranged that she just can't call him Dad.
She still asks about him. Where's Daddy?
Right.
I'm better.
Better.
I'm back. I'm solid.
What issues do you have, mate? Substance abuse, attitude problems, like...
I keep thinking about something. How before Maddie died,
Right, is that the dad?
he was different.
Different how?
He barely ate. He wasn't sleeping.
Oh, there's more to Matty, isn't there?
As far as I remember, he seemed okay. He seemed okay to me.
I don't remember, but before he
Yeah,
died,
tell
there
me.
was this phone call.
Okay.
And I hear him. He's talking downstairs. He'd be screaming if he wasn't whispering, you know?
Michael, were you on the phone?
What was he saying?
You get anger from Mike there as well.
What the hell was that about? What's going on? And he wouldn't talk to me.
A theme of this show so far is like giving you just enough information while also assuring that you don't get the full picture. You know, like I have so many questions and I know there's stuff that I don't know, and it's being made readily apparent by the dialogue, right? It's kind of impressive, the line that they tread with that, in that, you know, they do give you just enough to kind of start putting bits and pieces together and also tease you in a way that makes you kind of think of Breaking Bad and everything you already know. And I do feel like that's the structure of the dialogue, and the way they've put that together does make you speculate as much as possible. Because like I'm sat here like, okay, hang on, wait. No, okay, that wasn't the truth, but okay, I was wrong, but like, hang on, maybe that, do you know what I mean? And I'm doing that constantly, and I think it's very much on purpose. They're very much writing it with the idea, obviously, in mind that the audience have seen Breaking Bad and kind of know these characters, but obviously don't really know them at this point. And so it's kind of like playing around with all that. And so yeah, the dialogue is very kind of delicate. It's delicately manufactured to promote that feeling in the audience that they kind of know what's going on, but they don't as well. And I'm constantly getting that about so many characters. I'm getting it now about her. I'm getting it now about Mike. I'm getting it now about Matty. I've been getting it about Hamlin, and, you know, obviously Saul and Slippin' Jimmy and Chuck as well. And that, do you know what I mean? All of these characters in this show now, even though it's a prequel and it's before Breaking Bad, in my brain, I'm like, there's so much I don't know about them before that now that's influencing how they behave and the stories that they're telling in this show. And so it's a very interesting way to have structured this show. Obviously, yeah, like I say, with the knowledge that the people watching it have seen Breaking Bad, probably, like, most likely. But even without that, like, there is a baseness to the dialogue that is like give but not enough, right? So you're constantly wanting more, constantly speculating and trying to fill in those gaps yourself. That's what that naturally makes the audience do, which just makes it more engaging from a technical level.
I think he was talking to you.
Oh, hello.
He knew he could call you anytime he had a problem. You were thick as thieves, the two of you. And there was something in his... It makes me think it was you.
I don't think it was.
I don't think it was either now.
Maybe it was a CI or a case.
Yeah, and the reason I think that is because I was speculating that, and then the show was like, yeah, I think it's you, and then that kind of put me, that kind of made me back off. I was like, oh, okay, no, the show's telling me that it was him. So it's like, is it trying to double bluff me now, or this is what it's doing with the dialogue. It makes you constantly kind of second guess yourself with the way that, you know what I mean? Which I quite like, because for me, I like the speculation. I like guessing. I like being put in a place of not quite knowing, but kind of feeling like I know. I like that place. It makes the show more interesting, like I say, more engaging. But yeah, I feel like because the show kind of like, it makes you think that it's Mike on the phone, and then it actually like verbalizes that, a character in the show verbalizes that. You're like, oh, okay, no, hang on. You're trying to tell me, you're pushing that forward too much now. Now I'm backing off, and I'm like, no, I'm actually not sure it is Mike. I'm not sure it is, because it wants me to think that. So I'm like, I don't think, but then maybe not. Come on,
I know what you're doing, replaying it over and over. You don't think I haven't had those thoughts? I do.
I also like, I'm sorry, I keep pausing this conversation, I'm so sorry. I also do like that aspect to the dialogue, in that it's keeping a lot, like it knows it's not telling you the full story. That also kind of respects the audience and their intelligence, because these are just two people, you're coming in as the audience, not knowing really that much about them at this point, when they're at this stage. And it's like, no, we're going to make you just watch this conversation without any real context. We're going to fill that in probably later on. I absolutely believe they will, but they're just being like, no, the audience is intelligent. They'll sit and they'll listen to it, and they'll be like, and it'll pique their interest, but they'll get kind of what's going on. Like I know a baseline of information. I know, Mike and this. I know, well, we know Kaylee, right? We know Kaylee. Matt is his son, and this is why she's not calling him dad. But like, we know this dynamic. Do you know what I mean? We know that she was with Maddie. We know that Maddie's not around anymore. We know that Maddie was a cop. We know that something's happened. We don't know what. So we know like the pieces on the board. We just don't know the game we're playing yet. You know what I mean? And I like that. I think it really respects the audience's intelligence and doesn't handhold you, And I really do enjoy that. And I think that kind of storytelling does promote, like I say, engagement in the audience.
Maddie's gone. That's really all there is to it.
Yeah, whatever it is, he knows what it is. He knows what happened, and he just wants to put it behind him because it was traumatic to him. I think it was that look there. Hang on, sorry, because I feel like sometimes it seems like I pull things out of my ass, which is fair. Like I don't, but like I don't always necessarily explain.
You got to quit beating yourself up like this.
Yeah, because he's been doing the same thing.
Maddie's gone.
Look, this look here. He's sad about it, but it pains him, and you can see that it pains him. And he's like, Maddie's gone. It's the line as well. The words that he speaks. It's like, Maddie's gone. Leave him alone. You know what I mean? That's the language. That's the way that he's kind of pushing the conversation. And so like from that combined with the sadness and the pain that you feel from him, you can tell whatever it was traumatic to him too. He just wants to put it behind him. And it's like, you don't, like, obviously they're not saying that. He's not saying that to her, but you can work all that out just from the acting, the dialogue, and the script, and that's good. That's good storytelling. That's good writing. That's good acting. And it's a hallmark of these kinds of shows. It's the hallmark of Breaking Bad, hallmark of Better Call Saul 2. Look at that as well. Yeah, she doesn't believe a word. She knows he knows more. Look at that hard stare.
That's that.
Right. And again, the dialogue is like, I guess that's that. And her tone of voice is like, okay, that's not the end of it for her. There's also a little bit of derision, a little bit of kind of hitting back at Mike there as well. And she means the opposite of what she's saying. And you get that from the tone. So it's like the tone, the lines, her good acting. It's giving you so much. Yeah, there it is.
Don't know why it has to be this way.
Here we go. Back to the present.
Lawyer.
So get him in.
Just a couple of questions. Ain't nothing but a thing.
I like the way you put it, mate.
Expecting more cooperation from you on this.
Lawyer.
What lawyer?
Hey, here we go. Game time.
Airman shop. Who's got him and where?
Still rocking the suit, huh? I don't know, dude. I'm not sure that's working for you, but fair play. Hey, we're rocking a look. That's cool with me.
What?
You look like Matlock.
I look like a young Paul Newman dressed as Matlock.
Say hello to Barney Fife.
Wrong show, but thanks for playing.
Nice. The way that Saul came into that situation was much more familiar, more Breaking Bad-esque than, when, and I get, when he was going in to see Nacho, like the circumstances were slightly different. So of course he was nervous, but like we're getting a little bit, little touches of the familiarity of this character that we know from the future, poking through, and we're seeing that he's there. It's not quite him, but he's there. It's nice. It's just nice to see,
Mayor didn't give you enough stickers?
All right, here's what's going to happen. Those 2 cops out there are from Philadelphia.
Right, Philly, yeah.
The young one, who's been writing in his little notebook, he's going to take it and put it in his jacket. I want you to take that coffee and spill it on him.
Interesting.
So I'm here because you want me to assault a police officer.
Feel free to fill him in a little bit more, Mike.
But are you nuts? You can't be serious.
You owe me one.
It's funny, isn't it? I feel like as well, like, yeah, Mike's doing his own thing here, but I do feel like there's an element, again, of him judging Saul just based on appearance. I don't think he thinks he's necessarily a good lawyer, right? I think he thinks he's clever, right? He caught the Kettleman thing, and then Mike corroborated it, but like that right there, and the fact that he's just brought Saul in for that, you know, I get it, there's trust, he owes Mike one and all that stuff, right? But I do feel like as a lawyer, he doesn't trust him, and I feel like that again is because of how he behaves, how he acts, the veneer, the, you know, the aesthetic, and yeah, it's really sad. And again, so you're seeing it even from Mike, you're seeing that he just doesn't, again, Saul's not respected by people as a lawyer, you know, just based on appearance. And it's funny as well, just briefly, that, you know, we are playing around, you know, we're 6 episodes into the first season, you know, and the show's playing around so much with Saul's appearance and how he dresses. Like, we've got another one here, right? Obviously, you know, I know we got it in the last episode and carried it into this, but his hair's quiffed, he's got the different suit, and I get that he's, you know, he's trying to use that, he's trying to weaponize his appearance to get what he wants. It's a trial and error thing, right? It's, you know, some things work, some things don't, and I think that also symbolizes his crisis of identity, because he doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know who he wants to be either, and he doesn't quite know how the person he is fits and how that person and what he wants should go about getting his goals, or what is required to achieve those goals, especially because people were telling him before what he was doing wasn't quite getting them there. And so it's interesting. I feel like this quick changing of his appearance is very symbolic of a tumultuous identity, which again is, you know, corroborated by a lot of other things so far in the show.
Hold on. Fill me in. Assume I know absolutely nothing.
Good. Yes, tell me. What's the situation?
Look, don't let Mr. Ehrmantraut's dancing eyes and bubbly bon vivant personality fool you. He's actually, believe it or not, somewhat taciturn. Let's start at the beginning, okay?
Nice.
Mr. Ehrmantraut had a son, Matt.
Son. Yeah, so right. Oh, God. I'm thinking back to Mike's interaction with those 2 cops before and how they tried to get him to do what they wanted. I have a feeling, again, sorry, this is pure speculation now, but that combined with the confirmation that Matty was his son and the pain and everything that happened there, and the fact that Matty was like, you know, I guess maybe calling Mike and, you know, it was very heated. Maybe the police force messed with Matty, right? He was a cop, we know that. And maybe he got too deep into something, or, you know, he was betrayed by a cop, or something went on there with Matty. And then Mike intervened in some way, or I don't know enough. But clearly something happened with Matty. I don't quite know if Matty was to blame or he was the victim, right? Maybe both.
He was a good cop.
Yes, he was.
What happened?
9 months ago, he responded to a shots-fired call in some West Side rat trap. Unfortunately, things got out of hand.
Was Mike doing something a little bit shady, actually? And then Matty caught him, and that's why he called up, because he was like, what are you doing? Maybe.
Matt didn't make it out.
Huh.
That's when Hoffman and Fensky both turned up dead in a vacant lot out in Nicetown. Well, it's our operating theory that Hoffman and Fensky were mixed up in something, some bad business. And maybe that got Matt killed.
That's interesting, because if that's the case, then Michael have killed those guys, and he wouldn't have trusted cops after that. If 2 cops turned against his son and got him killed. Ooh, I mean, that fits, but like, I don't know.
I don't know much about Hoffman and Fensky.
Were they drinking with anyone?
It's a cop bar. They were drinking with everyone. I was
Drunk?
You know how it was.
Right, alcohol problem. So right, that's what he was talking about when What's-Her-Face was asking him. So yeah, substance abuse, okay.
When did you come out here to Albuquerque?
It was the very next day.
The day after Hoffman and Fensky died, huh?
It looks very suspicious, dude. This is the thing. There's more to this story, because the fact that Mike wanted a lawyer, he didn't want to just talk to these guys. There's something more to this. I'm starting to believe that perhaps the person that Matty was talking to on the phone was Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Come on, do it. Come on, man. Oh.
I can get most. You know what?
Nice. Gonna take it off him. Lifted it. Yeah.
Oh, for the love of... How'd you know that I would do that?
Because he thinks you're crooked.
Your friends from Philly back there, they think you killed 2 cops.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely something that we don't know about whatever we're being told here. And I think something that Mike doesn't know, which is interesting because it aligns you as the audience with Mike. Again, it puts you on his side in a very prevalent way, right? Because it's like, right, the show is giving you all this information. I feel like the show at this point has given you pretty much as much information perhaps that Mike has as well. Obviously, you're already on Mike's side for various reasons and obviously Breaking Bad and all that stuff. But I think it more strongly gets you invested because it puts you in the exact same position as Mike. You're on the same team, on the same side, going forward together, trying to find out what happened. And it just meshes you with his character more, it gets you on his side more, and it just invests you. That's the key word here. So much more than you already were. It takes you a step further by doing that.
You call the cops.
Okay.
And what exactly did you tell him? Tell him Matt was dirty? Is that what you told him? How could you possibly think that? That's your husband.
I told him I found money.
Why didn't you ask me? Why didn't you come to me?
Was he keeping it for Mike or something? I wonder, because yeah, Mike was very passionate, very impassioned when he said that no, he wasn't dirty. How could you think that? I think he believes that, and I'm inclined to think, despite what she's just said about the money, that he wasn't dirty. So now I'm like, okay, whose money was that, Mike?
I don't care where it leads, what it uncovers. I mean,
Matt wasn't dirty.
Yeah.
what was that phone call?
It was between me and my son.
Right, so yeah, it was him.
It was you.
He wasn't dirty.
Right.
My son wasn't dirty.
Oh, this camera angle. Okay. Going back. Let's see. Maybe overcompensating, maybe protecting a memory, though, as well. And being like, no, you don't remember him like that. I don't think so, though. I think that was so passionate, so angry at the mere thought of that. I believe Mike. I'm gonna believe Mike at this point. Yeah, let's find out. And I think honestly Mike is more involved than he's letting on. I think it's perhaps him, and maybe it's him that got, like I say, let's not forget, the thing that I was talking about before about him just wanting to move on from it, right? I felt there was a very firm, like, let it go. I want to move on. I want to move past this and leave it where it is, right? And I'm like, why? And I get why in the normal sense of like he's lost his son, but it felt like there was more to it than that. And I'm like, okay, he feels responsible. Why? I'm getting a little bit of that. Okay. Yeah. Damn, that's some good work, that dude. Woo. Skills. I mean, you've got to think he's killed them, right, at this point. Is he playing up a little bit here?
I know it was you.
So it was them. Okay.
How about I give you a lift home?
Oh, good on you, buddy.
I'm good.
You're not, mate. No.
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Tarantulas they got. That's a big minus to...
Oh, I know. Yeah, no. Oh, I'm with this guy. Stay with this guy. This guy knows where it's at. See, I'm glad someone in this universe has got their priorities straight.
Hey, Mike. Mikey.
They're going to come at him, yeah?
You want to ride?
I'm walking.
Oh, these scum. Absolute scum.
Come on,
get in
let's
the car
get ready. It's cold out here.
Just bullies, aren't they?
Come on.
Yeah, you can understand why he does not like cops. And it's interesting as well that last episode we had that incident with Chuck and how I again got this impression, about the police, this image of them, being very bullish, not stopping, not thinking, not talking, very much, enjoying their power, using their power. And it's like in that situation last episode, I was so kind of aghast, so angry. There's this old guy, this old man, and they break down the door, made a quantum leap of assumptions about this guy that they knew nothing about, and then they kick the door down. And so I do feel like that actually preps you for this episode. And I think, this story, this message of, I think police brutality and police corruption as well. And I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like, of course they're going to tell that story with Mike in this show, right? And I think, obviously when Better Call Saul was coming out, I think, the conversation of, ACAB, police brutality, was so in the mind of everybody socially as well, right? It's very much on people's tongues right now. So, it's really nice that they are actually going to pains to tell this story.
Later.
I wonder.
We don't want you to shoot your foot off now, do we?
I think this is I think he's faking it. He must be faking it, right? To lure them to think that they've got the upper hand so that Mike can do whatever he wants. And he's also got an alibi because the bartender saw him like this too. So the bartender was like, he couldn't have done anything. He was off his face, mate. And not being funny, that's like in line with what I know about Mike's character and how savvy he is, how clever he is, how good he is at what he does.
You got something you want to get off your chest? Something you want to say to us?
Yeah, they're fishing.
Killed him because you were scared. What you thought he might do.
God, that sucks.
You got him in that crack house, and you staged it.
Right.
Made it look like a junkie with a gun.
Yeah, scum. Absolute scum. Yeah, they're going to try and get rid of him, and I think he's going to take him out. There he is. Yeah, quick. Oh, buddy, he's so good. He's so good. God, what a play. What a hard play from him. He's got him. He's played these boys.
Not dying the way he did. It's too much for the old. He's drinking himself to death. We're doing him a favor.
Oh, yeah, you're really doing him a favor. Nice.
What I would have done if I were you.
Yeah, I'm not being funny, but like make them suffer. F them. In the knee, Mike. Both of them. How many bullets you got? Amazing. Ooh. And Mike's a good shot. He absolutely wanted them to suffer too. You know, he didn't want to do it clean. You deserve that, dude. You absolutely deserve worse. Scum of the earth, man. In that position of power over people when everyone's gonna believe you. F you. The audacity to beg. Hey, know your place, son. Good. Nicely done, Mike. Nicely done, dude. Oh, that feels good and that feels great. I mean, obviously, again, repeat myself, but again, obviously you're on Mike's side, but everything in this episode is geared towards investing you in this story and, you know, feeding it to you slowly as well. Not quite like if I'd have found out in that first conversation when this episode opened between him and Matty's wife, if it had told me all the information then, that's all well and good. They could have done that. But I think because they didn't, and it made me, do you know what I mean? Like I was talking about then, it pulled me in. It invested me into it because it got me asking questions. And when you're asking questions, you get into it yourself. Voluntarily, you jump in and you're like, right, let me figure this out. That's what doing that serves. It gets the audience in, it gets them like asking questions, and then you have the level of investment from the audience you need to make this hit all the harder. And as well, oh, it was done perfectly. It was actually done perfectly because then obviously, yeah, if they did it right at the beginning and told you everything, that's all well and good, but then you're not asking any questions. You're just sat back and you're watching it happen. It's like, oh, damn, that's what happened. Oh, damn. As an example, right, it's like you're on the outside of the situation looking in. But the way that they did it with that first conversation, in that they didn't feed you all of the information, you as the audience, you don't just sit back outside of the situation looking in, you actually, you know, you walk actively into that conversation and you get yourself in there and start looking at things, right? And that automatically just gets you to the place that then you're like asking questions, and then you're in the interview room later down the line. So we're talking about structure here too, because they've structured it very perfectly to get this situation right here, this scene right here, to hit you in a place that makes you feel the most. So then you have the interview scene with Saul in there too, and that's when it like actually starts feeding you more information, but you still don't quite know. And because of that, because it teased that information out over a period of time and got you invested in the way that it did it, the way that it structured that, it gets you to the place. Like obviously this was always gonna like hit you in a certain way, but it hits me much more strongly because of the structure of how they did that and drew me in. I feel like I know Matty a little bit now because of all of the conversations with Matty in it and the emotion that I see on Mike's face when he's talking about it, you know, 1, 2, 3 times, and obviously that final time when he's like, no, he's not dirty, and you see the tears and the pain and the anger that anyone could possibly think that of him, especially his wife, right? And you see that, so because of that, you get an impression of who Matty is, how good he is, and how the people closest to him thought of him, which gives you a much more of an impression of a person than you could possibly get without them being there and people just talking about them, right? You have people emoting, feeling, right? And you see that as the audience because, like, you know, Mike's actor's so good. All of that combined put you in a place where like you feel like you know Matty, even though I don't really. And I know this situation, I'm invested in this situation, right? And it's like I'm getting a payoff to that situation, even though I've just had the story essentially just told to me. For myself as the audience, the way that they structured it got me in there like I was investigating, right? Because I was speculating and doing that. Feeling like you know Matty even though you don't makes you feel that like that revenge, right? That need for revenge and the satisfaction of that. It makes you feel it because of the way that they've structured this episode and included elements like that to make this scene here like really hit you in so many ways. And I've talked about it long enough, so we'll leave it there and move on. But there is like several reasons, story-wise, technique-wise, in the way they've written it, and also structure-wise throughout the episode, that supply the reason for why you feel so good and so strongly about this moment right here. And now whatever happens as well, you're on Mike's side. Those cops coming for whoever killed these two guys, you're on Mike's side, and you want him to win, even though he might be doing stuff later down the line to get out of it that are crooked, you know, a little bit criminal. You're on his side, because you know the context. I know the context now. And it's interesting how the show continually presents these characters as ambiguous morally, grey morally, because of things like that.
You bust a drug dealer that has more cash than you'll ever earn in a lifetime. Some of it doesn't make it back into evidence. So what? You took a taste, so did everyone else. That's how you knew you were safe. Everyone's guilty.
Right, that's how you know you're safe, because no one can rat on you. Because if they rat on you, you can rat on them. Everyone's as bad as each other. And that's where ACAB comes from. All cops are bad. It's because, like, this, as much as you want to argue there are good cops out there, the system and the hierarchical nature and the way that it works means that any good cop has that beaten out of them, because they literally can't speak up without getting absolutely pariahed and done in by their own people. Like, anyone good can't be good in an organization that works that way. God.
Matt wasn't dirty. I was.
Yeah.
Everyone was in that precinct.
Right.
That's how it worked.
Yep.
You turn in your buddy, you're screwing yourself.
So you can't.
And you went alone.
Yeah, I love how it's exposing that. And it's interesting as well, isn't it? It's like Matty's being presented as that one good cop, and look what that got him. And that's what I mean, is that you, in a system like that, in the way that it works, you can't have any good cops in there, because that's what happens to them. At the very best, the minimum of what any cop is guilty of is probably that they're keeping the truth about their colleagues from everyone else, which is still bad. Even if they're not doing anything actively themselves, if they're keeping corruption of the people around them secret, that's still bad.
Fensky got to Hoffman early. Hoffman went to Matty, offered to cut him in. Only fair, right? They were partners.
And Matty was like, no.
And Matt did what you would think.
Yeah.
And then he came to me, wanted to go to the IA, do the right thing, shut him down.
Oh my God, did you let him?
And look at that from the person that loved him the most. It was like, what, you were so stupid that you were going to let him do the right thing? But that's what I mean. It's like, I don't blame her for having that opinion, because, yeah, like, what's the option? If he did the right thing, he's then in a world of trouble from the people with the most power around him, right? And he's going to get the biggest punishment. Even if that doesn't end with death, you're finished. And you don't change anything, right? That's the point as well. Like, you're not actually going to change how it works by ratting on them. You know, you can't. And sorry, you're probably picking it up from how I'm talking about it, but like I come down on the ACAB side of things. I really, really do. And I realize that's my opinion, and some of you watching might not share that opinion. You know, it is what it is. We all hold our own opinions, and that's how the world works, mate. But like, at the end of the day, I do really think, and I'm not, you know, just putting this down to American cops. I think we suffer from it in this country too. But, you know, I think when a system is so corrupted, when an organization so corrupted that we've seen, that we do have evidence for, there's no getting around that.
I told him, you know what a cop fears most? Prison.
Oh.
Getting locked up with everybody you put away.
Yeah.
You threaten a cop with that, you make him dangerous. And that's what I told him. He had a wife, a kid. Take the money. Do something good with it.
And I can understand with the situation that I just described, like, the cops in that situation don't have any other choice. That's what he's saying. Just take the money. It's the easy way out. Even though it's the wrong thing to do and you shouldn't, it's the only option you have, and it's the smartest option. In that situation, it's the smartest option. It doesn't make you good. It doesn't make you necessarily like a morally pure person, because it makes you a crooked cop. It does. So it's like, I get where Mike's coming from, but undeniably that does mean that, you know, it's not just that all cops are bad. It's like all cops have to be bad. In a system that works that way, they can't be good. Mike is literally saying that, and I love the way that the show is presenting that too, because it's not outright saying what I'm saying. It's not outright coming out and being like all cops are bad, but it's presenting that in an undeniable way, I feel.
My boy was stubborn.
Oh, and he's proud of him for that.
My boy was strong.
Yeah.
And he was gonna get himself killed.
Yeah.
I told him I did it too, that I was like Hoffman, getting by.
Oh.
He put me up on a pedestal.
I think we all did, right? It's interesting that line. I think it makes absolute sense that Mike was doing what he did, right? But it's funny the way that I've talked about him before and the way that he's almost presented himself in Breaking Bad with that story, and you know, the guy that he took out to the desert and how he was like, yeah, please, we're just not getting anything done, we're not actually making a difference all the time. I've always talked about Mike being like, oh, I bet he's an amazing cop, and I bet he was, right, in his own way, apart from this stuff. But it's funny, isn't it? It's like we are the son in this situation. We are Matty, I think. And well, I'm speaking for myself, I suppose, but I put him up on a pedestal. I really did. But then at the same time, now that he says, I'm not surprised, right? Knowing what I know about Mike and where he goes and what he's capable of, I'm not surprised.
He put me up on a pedestal.
Oh, what a painful situation, though. Yeah, look at it. You can see all of that.
I was down in the
tragedy.
gutter with the rest of them.
Oh, and imagine, you know, and again, we've got that thing that we had in Breaking Bad of Walt and Walt Jr. and that conversation between Walt and Walt Jr. and Walter being like, you shouldn't have to see your father like this. You shouldn't see the worst of me. And we're seeing that here. And yeah, I think that, you know, I think that's so painful for Mike as well. And you can see that it's painful and you feel the tragedy of it. Like, it's so beautifully tragic, beautifully painful. And I think, you know, yeah, the fact that he had to bear himself to his son, and that shows so much love as well. I don't think Mike ever wanted to do that. I think the idea, the thought of, you know, bearing what he's done and that he doesn't deserve to be up on that pedestal. He knew that his son held him there, but he himself was like, I don't deserve to be here. And I think, you know, tarnishing that image of himself in his son's eyes really hurt him. I don't think he wanted to do that, but it shows you how much he loved Matty, in that he told Matty to try and save Matty because he loved him, to try and, you know, make sure he came out of this okay. He tarnished that. He did the thing that I think he's very afraid of, that he didn't want to do under any circumstances, tarnishing this image of him in his son's eyes. He did it. He did it because he loved his son, and it still didn't save Matty. Oh my God. And that is just such a horrible, painful tragedy. You know, all those elements of that, all the nuances of everything going on in that. It's just it's so horrible. So horrible for Matty. And I feel so bad for Mike.
Broke my boy.
Oh, Mike, yeah.
I broke my boy.
Oh, buddy. Oh, that's beautiful.
He went to Hoffman, he took the money, but he hesitated.
Oh.
Even looking like you're doing the right thing to those two meant that he wasn't solid.
Oh, come on. And he even did it in the end, and
I got Matty to take the money.
And it didn't make a difference. You brought him down into that. So that, to Mike, that's like, I brought him down into the gutter. I made him like me. I tarnished my boy. I broke my boy, right? And it still didn't save him. That's even worse. Oh, come on. This is horrible. This is horrible.
And they killed him 2 days later.
Scum. Absolute scum.
He was the strongest person that I ever knew.
Oh, man.
He would never done it. Not even to save himself.
Yeah. It was you that did that.
I was the only one.
That could have done that, yeah.
I was the only one that could get him to debase himself like that.
Oh, yeah. Bless him. Oh, God, that's torturing Mike so much, isn't it?
And it was for nothing.
Yeah, for nothing, yeah.
I made him lesser.
Right.
I made him like me.
Right. Oh, bless.
And the killed him anyway.
Oh, I want to hug him. Oh, Mike, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. God, they deserved worse than getting shot, man. I don't know how you come off this episode not thinking all cops are bad, dude. I'm so sorry. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how you can hear this and not see how it's corrupted to its core.
If they killed Maddie, who killed them?
That's what you're fixated on right now? Can you just let him be for a second, buddy?
What happened?
You know what happened.
I mean, maybe she needs to hear it for her own peace of mind.
The question is,
are you going to tell anybody?
can you live with it?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's so... God, I have no words. I've said them all. Let's be honest with ourselves. God, the pain. Oh, I feel that pain, man. Oh, God, I'm so sorry, Mike. Yeah, that's so horrible. That's so horrible. And like I say, I don't know how you come off of this episode. I don't know how you can possibly come off this episode other than like deluding yourself and being like, oh, it's not everywhere. It's like, okay, sure. If you want to think that, then good on you. Fair play to you. This show is very much bringing up. Last episode, went kind of a little bit more nuanced into the healthcare question. And this was so heavy on the the police enforcement, which we've only really touched on a little bit in the past. We've not really gone into it like we just have. And I'm not gonna comb through that anymore. I think I've kind of made you very clear how I feel about it. And it's difficult, isn't it? Because what else can you say other than reform? Like what else can we do but have these organizations, systems reform? And then what guarantee have you ever got that they'll reform better, and they won't retain some element, some essence of the corruption that came before? You know what I mean? It's such an impossible situation as well. Like, so I'm sat here saying what I'm saying, and I'm like, I don't know how to fix it. It's above me. It goes above my pay grade. It goes to people who should be protecting us, saving us from that, and helping combat that. I mean, speaking for things in this country right now, the government we have is absolutely useless. They're harming the public. There are several examples, recent examples, and examples over the last few years, more than that really, but alone of demonstrations of our government not having the best interests of the public at heart, which is literally their one job, right? Even going so far as just making sure, we are getting, as the general public, what we need. We're not getting even that. So it's how do we even start asking the question of, hey, by the way, our police force is also corrupt. Can you sort that out too? It's oh, mate, you can't even ask. It's too big an ask, And I'm just speaking for England. I mean, you guys in America, you guys anywhere else in the world will know your country better than I do. But it's sad, it's difficult, and I think I think media is really important. I think it's really powerful because it's ideas at the end of the day, right? I think someone sitting on their couch might never have thought about something before, and it makes people think. It does. I think some people perhaps think, oh, it's just a story, and it's okay. But I think changing hearts and minds and making people think about stuff is also important. I think there's an element of sorry, I'm waxing a little political right now, I'm sorry, but that's the episode at the end of the day. But yeah, so there's that element of me that's yeah, but what can we really do, right? And as much as I think, for example, protesting, which is kind of illegal in this country right now, which is dangerous and scary and everything else, but sets a very dangerous precedent. Protesting, which I think is so important, I look at it and I'm like, what's it actually doing though? Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's this element of powerlessness in the same way that Mike felt powerless and has been made to feel powerless because of the situation that he's in. And I think that element of powerlessness very much translates to the audience. It translates to me, right? Because I'm watching all this stuff, talking about all this stuff, and I'm like, I can't do anything about it. And so it's well, why can anyone else sitting watching this stuff do anything else about it? And I think the question is, or at least maybe the answer is that, if we come together, all together, that's the only possible way we'd ever get that, things to change. I do think we have an element of apathy nowadays. I think there's far too many people far too comfortable, right? We're not particularly living through an age where the public is predisposed, at least, in this country, and I think maybe in America, well, less so in America, is less predisposed to, revolution's a strong word, but at least protest on a grander scale, right? We're just not predisposed to that anymore. I think there's a level of comfort in society and an element of just getting on with things and things being as they are and being comfortable, just comfortable enough, even though things might be bad, that it doesn't motivate people to do anything about it, which, sorry, bit of doom and gloom, I suppose. And hey, if you disagree with me, feel free to chime down in the comments as well. I'm going to leave that there because, again, as we kind of always do, as I kind of always threaten to do, I think I did last episode and didn't really get into it, there's always these massive, huge conversations that it's so hard to have while also, just critiquing a show. I can't just go off and, I try, I suppose, but I can't just go off and do these conversations justice. So if there's anything I've missed out or whatever, forgive me. I can't necessarily have a huge, complete, comprehensive talk about this stuff here. But I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you got a little bit of something out of it. And I will be back next week with Better Call Saul Sundays. If you enjoyed this and you're new, hey, scroll down and hit the subscribe. Why not, mate? Why not? Thank you, as always, to my patrons. Oh, you beautiful people. Thank you for supporting me in the way that you do. Thank you, as always, to the rest of you as well. I will see you very, very soon.